Please read the disclaimer. Hello, beautiful people. Shalom, moneymakers. This needs to change before XRP can spread its wings. We'll also talk about what Brad, the Ripple CEO, just said. And are we in for a very interesting next 24 hours? I hope not. I hope not. And we'll talk about the e-files and how people were thinking maybe something would be said today, but nothing was really said. We'll talk about that as well. All I ask from you is that you give me a beautiful smile to send out the good vibes. I'm Shervitzen here. Smash that like button. It's really hot here today. I don't know what's going on. Let's try to get 1,000 likes on this video. I know you guys can do it. Listen, all you got to do is you take this finger, right, and you go boop, and you click the like button. Easy peasy. Currently, XRP is sitting at $1.44. XRP is up 1% on the day. So XRP is pretty much in line. Like the total crypto market is up 0.34%. So XRP is actually up a little bit more than the total crypto market. Bitcoin is up over 70,000 once again. Ethereum is holding 2,000 very nicely. It hit the resistance level here, 2,144. But for the most part, the crypto market hasn't moved significantly here today. It seems that the freak out that happened Thursday is subsided for now. The reason why, we don't know exactly. We've had our theories. The NASDAQ is up today. The S&P is up today 0.5% as well. And the VIX, the fear indicator, is under 20 once again. You remember, anything above 20 is pretty fearful, but anything under in the teens is considered bullish, right? Of course, if we get to 30 and 40 and 50 and 60, like we've seen in the past, then that's, of course, is extreme fear. So we'll see how that plays out as well going into the end of the week, where we do have CPI reports. But the word on the street, and I'm seeing lots of tweets about this and lots of talks about this, and again, I hope that it doesn't play out, is the whole Iran-US situation. There's all these rumors that I've been reading that there's a certain time frame and we might be entering the time frame. So I just want to give you a heads up about that. If you haven't heard about that and you haven't seen about that, just be ready that there's a possibility that that kicks off. Okay. So again, I don't know what the market is going to do. I don't know what the news is going to be. And as always, this video is for educational purposes only, not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence before you decide to invest. Very, very important. Okay. Right now, it seems that we haven't gotten any updates on the Clarity Act today as well. So we'll see, maybe by the time you're watching this video, something has come out. But again, I'm not from the future. Future people, let us know in the comment section if that has happened, an update on the Clarity Act or not. There was an interesting situation that happened around here. And actually, we didn't really see it in the crypto market, but the stock market saw this. This is when there was a testimony that started for the e-files, right? And you can see that the market dropped on that, but nothing happened, right? The lady, she refused to speak unless she was pardoned. And so the market didn't do anything. I was reading stories over the past few days that the people were saying that maybe E-Guy was Satoshi Nakamoto, and she would expose that, and then the crypto market would either react positively or negatively to that, because then people would say, oh, it has a bad stench on it. But we don't really know if that is. Some people actually thought maybe it's a good thing. I don't know. I'm saying it like that's his name just because I've seen videos get demonetized because of that. So we don't want that to happen, of course. So it will be very interesting to see what happens with that going forward and how the market reacts to anything that comes out of that. Because some countries are freaking out. I saw the King of England was saying that they were very concerned about the situation, maybe with his brother that was involved in those situations. We'll see. We'll see what happens. What's going to happen with that, right? We'll see. Of course, you know that because of where I live, the whole situation around Iran is a little bit more concerning to me, right? So hopefully we don't see anything kick off there. We're seeing the US labor market have some recession signals. We'll learn this week more because there is earning job reports that are coming out this week. Sorry. And so we'll learn a little bit more about what's happening. You can see a US unemployment report coming out on Wednesday, and then Thursday, initial jobless claims. US job openings dropped to 6.5 million, falling 386,000 in December alone, the lowest level since September of 2020, while over the last 2 months, opening have collapsed by 907,000. From the March 2022 peak, job openings are down 5.6 million, showing how fast the labor demand has cooled. Openings are now sitting below pre-pandemic levels seen in 2018, 2019. This is not good labor market anymore. It's weakening quickly. The vacancy to unemployed ratio has fallen to 0.87. That means that there are fewer jobs than one job available per unemployed worker. The ratio is now below the pre-pandemic high of 1.24, near 2021 stress levels, even weaker than readings seen during the 2001 recessions. So this is very interesting, and we'll see what happens. Some of this is from AI and things like that, but you're also seeing things in transportation and technology, healthcare. So it's all around the board that we're seeing this. I don't know what was that. I think it's one of maybe my son's phone or something suddenly said something. And of course, this is, the Fed maybe reacting too late is why we're seeing, a weak job market and still high inflation. Of course, the Fed will say that the inflation is down significantly, but it never really got to where they wanted it. So they were too late. The Fed was too late. So hindsight is always 2020, right? But this could affect the US going forward. So we'll see. And we know that what happens in the US affects the crypto market in the midterm, long term, also because a lot of money that is coming into the crypto market comes from the US. Okay. Fed Governor Waller says crypto dips have happened before and big crashes are normal. Years ago, if you said Bitcoin was 10,000, you'd say, oh my God, that is cray cray. And it's true. I remember back in the day when I first learned about Bitcoin, I was a young buck, right, learning in university. And I had a course on cryptography, and the professor taught us about Bitcoin, about the cryptography that they were using, about the creator, Satoshi Nakamoto, and how nobody knows who he is, and all that. The time I was broke, so a Bitcoin was around $100 at the time, and it was a big thing because it had ran up to $100, right? And hindsight is 2020. I didn't have money back then, and when I did finish and I got to start making, it already popped to around 20,000, right? So it was 2017 already, and then I was able to accumulate some at 3,000, but not, of course, as much as I would have wanted. But it is what it is. Hindsight is always 2020, and maybe in a few years, when a million will look funny to us, or 10 million, I don't know, right? But we'll see. Again, I'm not a prophet. I don't know exactly how things are going to play out, but it's always hindsight is 2020, right? You look back, oh, why didn't I buy Apple in 1987? Why didn't I buy Tesla in 2015? Why didn't I buy Monster Beverage in 2000? Why didn't I buy Nvidia in 2015 also, right? All these questions. Some people did and some people didn't. And that's what's amazing with investing, okay? It's very, very important to remember. Brad Garlinghouse tweeted out, glad to see the message is finally even more clear. XRP family has and always will be top of mind for Ripple. You can see here. Justin, Ripple outlines institutional DeFi blueprint for XRPL with compliance-focused infrastructure positioning XRP as settlement and bridge assets. And Mr. Khan here, and some of you thought Ripple wasn't true to their word as XRP as a bridge asset. The vision has not changed. The direction remains aligned. So a lot of people that were afraid of this situation are now seeing, that Ripple are not throwing XRP under the bus and saying, oh, we're only looking at RLUSD, we're only looking at the stable coins, and that's what we care about. No, XRP, of course, is a significant part of Ripple's valuation. which we talked about, I think last night or the night before. I've been in the hospital for the last 48 hours, so I don't really know what day is, right? Um, the top 10 private companies in the world are evaluation of about 60 billion. And so, it's a significant part of that is their XRP stockpile, right? So, of course, they have a um, significant amount of XRP and they want XRP to go up, right? But the problem is um, that price action comes from sentiment and buying and selling, right? Price action. Well, when the sentiment is low, retail is not there. Sometimes big money, smart money is there. And when do usually you see big pumps and you see the red zones here is when there's euphoria, when the YouTube videos are getting 200,000 views and and things are pumping and every single coin that was open, it was new, was going significantly up, and we are seeing huge movements. Now, you're probably not going to see that because we're in a low term of the social euphoria, right? We're at close to bottoms, just in interest, right? Um, you know, there's very little amount of crypto YouTube channels that are left. There are, right? People are trying, but there are many that I have seen a few years ago that have disappeared because it's hard when the markets, fluctuate and social interest goes away. Some people can't hack it, right? So when you have a situation like that, again, and there's not a lot of buying pressure, then people are like, well, why isn't it going up? Well, because nobody's buying, right? And when nobody's interested and nobody's buying, or there's less interest because the price is low. Think about that. When the price is low, people are like, right? I don't to tell me. So I have this famous story, right? I'm going to tell it again. I don't care. Story time. A while back, a dad, I have three boys, right? And so my oldest is one of the kids in his class. I had a birthday, and at the time there was October 7th. His birthday is October 14th. We had to postpone the birthday because, of course, war started. And we ended up celebrating it in 2 months later in December of 2023, right? And so at the time, right, December of 2023, Bitcoin was not doing so great, right? At the time, it was around 35,000. And right, it was around here. And he came to me and he was like, "Oh, you talk about crypto?" It's like, "Yeah, yeah, we it's sold off. We've had this big sell off, and it's really, it's already up 100% from the low." And then he said to me, "Oh well, but wasn't it a lot higher?" And I said, "Yeah, it was at 68,000, but it's momentum. There's potentially going to be ETFs and all this." And I was telling him the whole spiel, and he was like, "Okay, okay, right." Then we met about a year later, right? Somewhere around here, and Bitcoin was running up. It was like at 80,000, 89,000, 90,000. And I saw him again a year later, right? Because you don't really see your kids' parents that much, and especially if people are working. And we met at some event. I don't even remember what it was. And I said to him, "So did you buy any?" And he was like, "No, no. But what about now, right? It's doing good, I heard again." And I said, "Yeah, it's doing good." He said, "Well, now I think, it's too expensive." So that was his sentiment. And that's what most people, when things are going, good or bad, they're like, "Oh, but wasn't it a lot higher?" And when it's creating new highs, many people say, "Oh, it's too expensive." Or people jump in when you hit the peak, right? You get to a certain situation where your belly is burning, right? The FOMO is so strong. And that's usually when the market starts selling off because you get people like him that are starting to buy. When that starts to happen, then the big money starts shorting the market. They start creating FUD. They start creating fear. They start creating articles. They start, sending out the bots, and they create sell-offs. And this happens over and over and over again, right? So our job is to be smart and to find ways to continue to accumulate when things are good, when things are bad, and be the best that we can be. Right? That's all you can do at the end of the day. We also have XRP Community Day coming up, growth of regulated XRP investment products. This session digs into ETF and ETP growth, public market demand, and what broader access to XRP looks like next. Interesting. Happening soon here today. So gear up for that, February 11th. So in 2 days, not today. Also, there is a potential of another government shutdown this week. It seems it has just been postponed, and there's 74% probability they will have another government shutdown. Ay caramba. That is a possibility as well. Hopefully, that doesn't happen. I'll cross my heart and hope that it doesn't happen. And I hope that we don't see any Iran shenanigans in the next 24 hours. Let's hope nothing like that happens. And we can see XRP potentially recover, the price action. But listen, let me know in the comment section, right? I have a good question for you. So right now, XRP is at 145. So XRP was at $1.11 just a few days ago. Right? You were probably freaking out. Most people were freaking out. But when XRP jumped to 154, were you relieved? Were you like, okay, this is good now? Now that we're 145, are you like, okay, I'm okay with XRP at this price right now? If it jumps back to 193, will you be like, okay? If it jumps up to 242, will you be okay? What's the level that you would say, okay, if XRP gets back to 262 or 3, I'm going to be feeling a lot more confident? Because the question I'm asking is this, because if it does get back to 3, right, there's no guarantee that it stays at 3. It could drop down again 50% and go back to $1.50. It could happen, right? We've seen this happen in the past. So what would make you more confident in XRP from a price action point of view? Because I know that that's what most people want, and that's people where the sentiment is price action. Although, again, every single person has their own goals and their own things that they want to get out from investing in the crypto market, and every single person is different. So I'm interested in that. Let me know in the comment section down below. Don't forget to smash the like button. Check out the links in the description down below. Drop a comment. Smash the like button. Did we get to 1,000 likes? Yes, no? How do you like my painting here? Do you like it? Thank you for watching. I hope to see you next time. And like I always say, let's make a lot of money.